Oh no, my screen might be a little weird. Hold on, let me see if I can get my screen right because phone was all over the place. And I think maybe it might be a little better. Or my device was all over the place last night. We did a show. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Good morning. Good morning. Um, like my mother always say, thank God for Jesus, right? And it is a feel good Friday on this show, on the Shawn Harvey Morning Show featuring Wake Up Team Friday, the last day of the month, February 28th, 2025, minute after the hour. Welcome, guys, to the Shawn Harvey Morning Show featuring the Wake Up Team. Only place on earth where you get your morning started right. Chat room is wide open, or you can call in. You know the deal. The number's 570-982-6950 on a Feel Good Friday. What we're gonna do? We're gonna shout y'all out. We're gonna show y'all some love. I feel good spiritually. I'm physically tired. I worked last night. I'm still working, and we're gonna talk about that in a moment. But I am so grateful that you guys are here. I hope you guys are doing well. It is a feel good Friday. I hope you guys had a safe night, restful night, peaceful night. Now you can get out here this morning. If you're still working, go out and get this paper. If you're retired, you can still go get this paper, or you can sit your ass down and just retire. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not hating. Any notes I gotta say? Okay, yeah. Before I start, hey guys, on March the 7th, the ticket is moving really fast for the Shawn Harvey birthday bash. That's next Friday. Actually, it's a week from today. Y'all come on now to Comedy in Harlem. That's 750-A St. Nicholas Avenue in the heart of Harlem, right there, Sugar Hill section on 147th Street. As we know, it's a Black-owned club, and if you don't know, then that's what it is. And we're here to support Black-owned businesses, and why not bring a special occasion like my birthday in at this particular location? So y'all come on out. 2 shows. We got a few seats left for Saturday, the 8th. Few seats left. We have a few, we have some tickets for Friday. So y'all come on out next week. Get your laugh on with your boy Harvey. Now, let's get into the show on a Feel Good Friday, and we truly appreciate it. Last night, I want to give a special shout out to the New York King talent. That's my brother. Talent hit me up the other day. And he said, yo, I have some complimentary tickets for the Harlem Globetrotters that are appearing here in town, in Allentown, the next town over, for last night, Thursday night. He told me this on Wednesday. Today's Friday. He told me this on Wednesday. And he said, yo, just gather up some kids and some parents, and and it's just comp tickets. It's all good. And I noticed to be true because a couple of years back, last year when they were here, we went to go see him, or the year before, I can't remember. And we had a good time. We had a bunch of folks come on out. And then I hit up some people, and I hit up some of my comedy supporters who always come out in the Lehigh Valley and show love. And who had kids. I mean, I think there's the Harlem Globetrotters. I think you could go as an adult, but I think it's weird that adults only go to like an event like this, because I think that is basically for kids. Of course, the parents have to be there, but like it's I don't think I would say like to my wife, yo, let's go watch the Harlem Globetrotters, just us by ourselves. I think that's kind of weird. Professional basketball game, collegiate game, high school game, yeah. But I think that the Harlem Globetrotters is geared for the kids and younger folks. So I lined up a bunch of folks, and I got a list together, and I sent it to Talent. And Talent is the type of person, he's always on top of his business. Or we can say now, stand on business. He's one of those guys. And hold on, let me just say this. I'm gonna see if I can get Amir Silly to chime in for a minute. Hold on. Hold on a second, guys. So, hold on, let me just say. So I got a lineup. I got some folks together, and welcome to the show, guys. Good morning. I got some guys together, and shout out to everybody on YouTube. I gave him the list, talents on top of situation. He gave the list to the coach. I called talent, right? Yesterday afternoon, he said everything's square. Only thing they got to do is go to the front gate. My peoples get to the front gate, and the information is not there, and the people can't get in for the moment. So my man called me. He's like, "Yo, what's going on? I got these kids here. My man is here." And I'm driving to Bridgeport, Connecticut. I'm freaking out. I'm like, wait a minute. This is a seamless situation. This is a seamless process all the time. Everything is on point from A to B. Let's knock it off. Oh, no. The kids, we can't get in. And I understood the stress. I did, because it's a trust factor. I gave out information trusting that this would happen, right? And the people who received the information that accepted the offer are at the place, right? And they're there because of trust. It really is. It's a trust situation. They trust me to make sure they're in. I trust talent to make sure we're good. And the comedian and the coaches of the event, they trust the organization that they'll let people in. So trust plays a key. It's a key core principle in the whole situation. Driving to Bridgeport, we're doing the show. Matter of fact, I stopped at my daughter's house first, then went to the show. I talked to that. I get in that in a minute. And I told the dude, I said, hold on. Princess, what's good? I told the dude, hold on. Because he was freaking out. Obviously, he couldn't get into the event. It was 6:45. The game started he was there at 6:30. Game started 6:45. And I called talent because they couldn't get in. So I needed help. Couldn't then pick up the phone and call his man, Rick. Rick picked up the phone. I talked to talent. Now, at the same time, my man is like, yo, we still can't get in. The kids are here, right? Game started at 7. For talent. Talent immediately got back to me. And immediately the situation was resolved, right? I got the information that I gave to my man Ching. And Ching hit me back. Yo, we're inside and we're enjoying the game. And you know what I'm saying? Like what they say, stand on business. When you stand on business with real men and women that are about their business, usually situations are seamless and flawless. Okay, even if there's a hiccup in the process, it's only a phone call or communicating with somebody, and then things are back on track. When people talk about standing on business. And then I went up to your princess. Good morning. Then I went up to Bridgeport, Connecticut, where my daughter happens to live in Bridgeport. So I had a show in Bridgeport. And I stopped by my daughter's house literally for 20 minutes to show love to my grandson. And then I went on to the show. And the show was literally 10 minutes from where my daughter lives. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a second. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, guys. Come on in. And I went to go see my daughter, right? Let me see the hearts in the chat room, by the way. Let me see the hearts in the chat room. And then I went to the club, and we had a great night. And this is leading to something, of course, because you know me, I'm long-winded. We had a great night at the comedy club. It was at the Stress Factory in Bridgeport, Connecticut, because there's a Stress Factory in New Brunswick, New Jersey. I get there, the vibes are dope, the show is funny, talent's hilarious. All the comedians, Monique Latif, she featured for me, and Misconduct, and all these acts. My man Aldo, everybody. DJ Hot Sauce playing music. We had a good time. And when I got on stage to tell my jokes, right, I referenced the Bronx, New York, because that's where I'm from. I always wear the Bronx on my sleeve, even though I don't live there. And half the crowd erupted and clapping and acknowledgement and laughing. We didn't know that half of the crowd was from the Bronx, New York, that lived in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And then after the show, we selling merch, we chopping it up with people letting us know, the people are letting me know what part of the Bronx they're from. And I'm totally stunned. I'm totally stunned. It's 10:30 at night. It's 10 o'clock at night. We in the lobby selling merch, and we're just so proud. I think folks from the Bronx is, I believe, the poorest borough in New York City. And some of the neighborhoods in the Bronx are some of the poorest neighborhoods in the country, but we're so proud to be from there. It's weird. It's weird that I'm from the Bronx. The Bronx is terrible, but we're so proud to represent. And I bring all this up to say this. I bring this up to say this. My daughter, who's originally from the Bronx, New York, relocated to Bridgeport, Connecticut. And there's a lot of people from the Bronx that relocated north to Connecticut. And a lot of people from the Bronx relocated west to Pennsylvania. You can't relocate to Central Jersey because it costs too much money. But my question today is this. My question is today is this. Before we get into the show, is relocating a good thing? Is relocating from where you live, is that some kind of like badge of an honor, or maybe you achieved some better in life, or 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 maybe you dreamed of living in a better place, and you felt like, okay, I got to leave New York to move someplace else? Is relocating good? Sometimes relocating doesn't make sense. Sometimes relocating doesn't make sense. Sometimes I play a picture in my head. Sometimes I play a picture in my head. Should I even have left New York City back in the day? There's a lot of contributing factors in relocating. Hold on. My man gonna call in. There's a lot of contributing factors in relocating. Sometimes, like say for instance, if you live in a nice stabilized apartment with nice neighbors, and your rent or your mortgage is so affordable that it doesn't make sense to move to another state or another neighborhood because you can afford to live where you are peacefully. You also have all the stores around you, and it's very convenient to live where you live. Okay, sometimes people might spaz out every once in a while, but does relocating make sense? There's a lot of people from the Bronx, New York, that relocated to Bridgeport, Connecticut. Now, is relocation some type of status? And some people, and people that I know, have relocated to Pennsylvania, didn't like the whole situation in Pennsylvania, right? Or couldn't afford the mortgage, or they just couldn't afford to stay there and had to move back to the Bronx. Does it make sense to relocate on a Feel Good Friday? Have you ever thought as a young adult or even as a kid, you look in your neighborhood and you drive by another neighborhood and you're like, I want to live here. And that happened to me as a child. And welcome to the show, only place on earth where you get your morning started. My cousins used to live in Queens, New York. They used to live in Jamaica, Queens, and they had this house, and there was a park across the street, and it was so dope. And every time I visit my neighborhood, my cousin's neighborhood in Queens, New York, and I'm from the Bronx, I was like, man, I want to live here. This is before the Run DMC days. I was like, I want to move to Queens because it looks so nice out here. It's ghetto as hell out there now, but I'm talking about back then. So as a child, Did you did you think like, you know what? I live here, but boy, I would love to live over there with Auntie and them. Have you ever thought that? And then as an adult, right, you go through your processes of education and you're applying for jobs and you get a job and you get a job where you can afford to move out the neighborhood. And then you move out the neighborhood and then you realize you don't make enough money to live in the neighborhood. Because sometimes we got to take these things into consideration. Like if you live in an apartment building, wherever you live, but you know that, and say if you get, so let's keep it with New York City. Say you got public transportation. Say you live in a building, right, in the middle of the block, and but the train station is around the corner, right? But just think about it. The train station is around the corner. The supermarket, all of your clinics, the car repair, fast food, restaurant, everything is in a one block, like in a 3 block radius. Where if there's a snowstorm, it doesn't matter if you have a car or not. You can just simply go on with your everyday life, pick up all the amenities and all the items that you need because you live right there centrally located. Sometimes we got to think about that. When I left New York City, when I left New York City, the last place I lived in New York was in the Bronx, New York. I lived on Morris Park Avenue and East Tremont, and that was right in the hood, right up the block from 180th Street, and right below East Tremont. And I lived on East Tremont on a strip on a major road. And I lived in a tenement building. It was one of those, those matching tenement buildings that have the courtyard, and then they had the big, the black gates, because you have to use the key to get into the courtyard because they put the black gates up there because of the crack era back in the day. Have you guys ever lived in a tenement building like that? But in that building, it was a small apartment. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. The building was just terrible. It was a terrible building. It was a roach infested building. I ain't even gonna lie. But the one good thing about living there, everything you need for your everyday necessities of life was right there. And for example, I lived in this building. I think it was 1183 East Tremont Avenue in the Bronx. That's the last. I think that's the address. There was a gas station across the street. Gas station across the street, and I had a car. I think at that time I had 3 cars, and there was parking. There was a gas station across the street, and I had a car. Yeah, we said the Bronx version of a gated community. Yo, Princess, can I have that? Can I have that? Because that's funny. I had these cars, and there was a gas station across the street. Okay. Now, in front of the building was the bus stop. You could walk to the train station. The train station was around the corner. It was the 180th Street train station. But if you come out the building, you could see the East Tremont station down the block. So I had 2 train stations. There was a bus stop. Okay, we had the car, gas station across the street, right? Bus stop in front of the building. What was out of my? I must have been out of my mind to leave a situation like that. 2 bodegas. They had one on the corner and one across the street. In some neighborhoods in New York, they got 2 or 3 bodegas. Put it in the one chat room. Have you ever seen a bodega across the street from another bodega? I am not making this up. They had an auto repair place about a block down, 2 blocks down, and a car wash. I'm not making this up. The supermarket was down the road a little bit, but you had your Chinese restaurant. I had the Chinese restaurant, the old school church, the old school church. There's always in the hood, there's going to be 7 churches. They had, and I'm not making this up, they had a methadone clinic across the street. They had a McDonald's down the block. The schools were down the block and across the street. There was a junior high school over there by Lambert housing in the Bronx. Everything that I needed was right there. But no, Harvey had to move to Pennsylvania. But I had to move to Pennsylvania. I left all these amenities, everything that was right there in front of the building. I left and moved to Pennsylvania, where at that time when I moved to Marshall Creek and I bought that house out there, it was it was I went from East Tremont Avenue with 500 people in front of the building, and that's at 11 o'clock at night. 24-hour bodegas, gas stations across the street, McDonald's down the block, car washes down the other block, auto repair on one side. They even had a club around the corner. Two bodegas, everything you needed. I left that, moved to Pennsylvania, to the Poconos, in a house where my next neighbor was literally 3/4 a mile away from me, or 1/4 of a mile away from me, and I didn't know nobody. What's wrong with me? Is relocating good? Have you ever dreamt of relocating on a Feel Good Friday, or have you? And have you ever thought on a Feel Good Friday? Have you ever thought that this was a bad idea? Because I know I did. I did. It took me 6 months to adjust to living in the Poconos. And I'll be honest with you, I was pissed. I had this house. We bought the house. Me and my baby mother bought the house. The house was underneath my name, if I could remember. Okay, I can't remember. And I had to admit on a Feel Good Friday, and I'm tired as hell. I had to admit that maybe that wasn't the right move. Let me call it. Maybe that wasn't the right move, relocating before we get into to the oh, what's the number? Hold on. Let me call it. Hold on a second. Have you ever moved somewhere and you thought that it was a bad idea when you moved?
Hey, Shawn.
Yo, Amir, hold on, Amir. We're on we're on the podcast right now. I'm gonna just throw you right up here. Good morning, brother.
Good morning, brother.
Amir, everybody, let's give a round of applause to Amir Sealy, man. Let's clap for him. My partner on Motivational Mondays on IG, man. Yo, first of all, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. It's Friday. Finally, the sun's back out here in NY for those who may not be here in NY, so it's good to see the sun again. And it's the weekend, one of those things that, so many of us look forward to. Obviously, is the weekend if we're 9-to-5ers and, not entrepreneurs and all kind of other amazing things that we could be. So I'm just in great spirits. It's a great day. The weather looks like it's going to be a little more chilly than, it has been over the last couple of days, but I'm feeling great, brother. So it's great to hear your voice. What's going on? How are you today, King?
I'm good. I'm a little tired today because we all worked last night, and but physically I'm tired, but mentally I feel really good. Spiritually, I feel good. And the folks are saying hello to you in the chat room. Now, Amir, this is what I was talking about in the show before before I move on to the rest of the show. And I thank you for your time. Is relocating good or not, Amir? I just went on a rant how I used to live in the Bronx, New York, Amir, and I lived in this tenement building on East Tremont Avenue in the Bronx, where I had the gas station across the street. There was a bus stop right in front of my building, a mechanic location right down the block, a car wash, McDonald's, two bodegas, and everything. The supermarket was down the block and around the corner. I had two train stops right there where I live, and I had all these all this transportation and all the things that I need for my everyday life right there in the Bronx. And I made a decision to move to the Poconos. And the first year, I regretted that decision because I went from one extreme to the next. Amir, a lot of folks dream to move or relocate, but sometimes relocation might not be the best offer, especially if you live somewhere where your rent's sustained, or you have great neighbors, or it just works for you financially. My question is, have you ever thought about, like, you ever relocated and it was like, maybe this might not have been a good move, or sometimes we really, honestly, it's a major decision in our lives.
It's so funny that you asked me that question in particular today. So to answer the question first off, I think that is a question that you have to ponder on and you have to think about. So many of us are relocating for various reasons. For instance, again, if you've been in New York most of your life, you may or may not be able to withstand the cold, especially as you get up there in age. The cold feels a bit different, all that kind of stuff. So you're like, look, let me find a warmer climate or someplace else around the country where I can then go and enjoy the weather a little bit more. Cost of living also, could be a factor. And then there's just the, good old fashioned, to your point, you've been in some place for so long that you just want to change the scenery. You want to change your pace. I will say this, from my conversations with my friends who have moved to multiple places around the country and out of the country, I'm finding that, yes, initially it feels and sounds like one of the greatest things in the world to do because of, again, the change of scenery, change of pace. But there is the conveniences, to your point, that you miss. The other day, my brother and I were talking, we were laughing, talking about Atlanta and, certain other places. And, you move to these places and to some degree, you have some of the things similar to what we have. Not exactly, but similar. For instance, a transit system. Again, not as complicated as ours, not as long and as great as ours, but they do have something along those lines. But when you actually visit these cities, I'm always amazed at the amount of walking you might have to do, and the fact that there aren't necessarily always sidewalks except for in the metropolitan cities.
Good.
And then they have these, places you go. We got 7-Eleven, but I think in Philly there's Wawa's and all these other different names. But to get to those places, to your point, is not the same as coming down out your, house or your tenement building and going to the corner and hitting the bodega. It's just not the same. And those conveniences are things that you really have to, kind of see if that makes sense to you. Because the one thing that I know, and especially about New York, and I say this all the time because people ask me, they say, man, why you love New York so much? I said, because to be fair, yes, it might be overpriced now. We might, have a situation with homeless and some of the other, challenges we have. But this is still that city. And no matter what time, day or night, you can find something to do. You can try to do. You can just have things that you can get into that don't require you to do super extra stuff.
Yes.
It's just a matter of jumping in the Uber. Right. And that to me makes the difference when you get to the opportunity. Again, I do say this because I'm in a travel opportunity. I'm in the travel business. Go out and travel and see the world, because you should see what else is out there. Because once you do, sometimes allows you to appreciate what you already have. Because so many of us think that, like you said, this is terrible. But I always say this, and I want y'all to think about this, especially those of you who are New Yorkers or former New Yorkers. If you know, everybody's still trying to come here. So Africa can only be but so great. Dominican Republic can only be but so great. The list goes on. And this is not to disparage anybody from moving to those places or say that any of those places are bad. What I'm saying to you is, look at how many of them are trying to come here. You don't hear people talking about, I'm trying to, go back to the Dominican Republic and this. Not until, they seem to be in retirement age. But as young people, they hear, hey, I'm going to come, 90,000 of us stay in one apartment. Right. And we going to all stay in this apartment until the money gets right. Then we going to move some of y'all out and move new people in. I say this with every bit of humility because I'm a Bronx cat most of my life. Right. And Shawn knows this because he's, been a Bronx cat most of his life. The Bronx always was African American and Latino. Yeah. But now it has become predominantly Latino. Let's just keep it a buck. Yeah. And that's, and that's not not a slight. That's just the truth. You go up on Fordham Road, or you take the train, the 4 train. The way that the people are from as far as color goes, and they hit all the diasporas. I see dudes on the train, they be talking to me, and they hit me with the poppy, and I be like, oh, hey, no, I don't speak that, sir. No disrespect. I'm regular black. I don't. And again, that's not a disrespect. It's just a space and a place that we are in, as a people. But I do know that I hear people. I'm moving to Dubai. I'm moving to Thailand.
Yeah.
I'm like my oldest brother just came back from Ghana, and he literally we just had this conversation the other day. He said, "Man." He said, they talk about Africa hot. He said, that's a real thing. And we just laughed. But he also said there is a disparaging difference between those in Ghana who have money and those that don't have money. So I always tell people, poor is poor no matter where you go in the world. And if you, again, have the opportunity to travel, please do, because it gives you that perspective and hopefully puts you in a space and a place that now allows you to look at things from an educated, or at least from a perspective where you have some things to measure. You know what I mean?
Yo, everybody, my brother's online, man. He came through in the clutch. And I'm for sure, you guys can hear him now. Thank you so much if y'all can hear him. Put number one if you can hear Amir. And thanks for your time. I just want to chop it up for just 2 more minutes with you, man. Shout out to LaShawn Hayes Jones, LaShawn Oliver. God bless D-Lo, my man Princess, you already know. Now, relocation, Amir Sealy, comes in all different forms. Sometimes in relationships, people relocate.
Correct.
Sometimes you get into a relationship and one party's the man or the woman's like, yo, let's get out of here and let's move down south, or the black migration to Atlanta or wherever it is. And then some folks, unfortunately, Amir Sealy, relocate in a relationship, and then the relationship is fractured because of the relocation. Who plays a part in that? Is that a form of people pleasing? Where sometimes a couple could go, yo, you know what? Even though we got our ducks in order and we got our finances in order, and let's move to Atlanta, but get down there or get wherever geographical place that they move to, and then find themselves not communicating with each other. One party might be frustrated. The man or the woman want to move back to New York. Do you think that is wise for couples or people who are in relationships? One person said, let's move, and the other person goes, you know what, all right, let's do it, but it's really not in their heart. And then when they move, because a lot of couples break up because of relocation. What's your thought on that, brother?
It's funny. That's another really interesting concept and ideology. To your point, I think you nailed it early on when you said the communication part. But I always warn against people when we say communication, because everybody says that that's the key to everything, and it's not just the communication, it's also the understanding and comprehension.
Right.
So we can, people can share things with you all day, but if you don't comprehend it, if you don't understand it, then it's a moot point. But I think when you, again, start talking about trying to relocate, wherever that may be, one, you need to really do your homework. So you need to go see if it makes sense to you. The weather may be too dry.
Right.
People there might not be friendly enough, or combination of different things. But the point is, that is most certainly a conversation that needs to be had. Also, you have to start really thinking to yourself, what thing you like to do that you still be able to facilitate going into this new space. Because, for instance, if you are, you might be a partier, or a person who loves to party. That on the head. You have to be honest with yourself first and foremost. I get it. Like you said, it's a form of people pleasing when we do things, or we decide to, be with certain people or around certain people, and all that's good. But the reality of it all is, and I think that this is something that we all need to work on. To really understand in the last few years, and especially because of all of the wonderful relationships that I have with you, with talent, and the stuff that we've been doing. All of the things that most people look for from the outside world are technically inside jobs.
Right.
And I just mean simply happiness. the way that you treat yourself. He or she didn't do this and that and the third. That ain't their job. Their job is to take care of them. Everybody who comes into your life is just like when you was a kid and you used to run to the ice cream truck and you'd be like, let me get a vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream and sprinkles.
Right.
The sprinkles is what you significant other is. The sprinkles is what your man, your man or woman is. Why? Because you already supposed to be making you happy. They're just supposed to be an addition. Too many of us have placed our happiness, our everything in somebody and something else. And that's not how it's supposed to work. And the reason I know it's not supposed to work that way is because look at how miserable so many of us are. And that's not enough. I'm just being honest. Because when you start to do the things that you like and or love, it's amazing how your whole energy changes. It's amazing how the world sees you. It's amazing how the world then reacts to you because now that happiness, that energy is emanating into the world and the world is responding back because of what you're putting out there.
Yes.
We are so quick to think that everything is about somebody else, doing something for us. And again, that's not to say that if you have somebody who is helping you with doing certain things to shut that off, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is in all fairness, even when it comes to moving, like you said, or relocating, that is something that you have to sit with in silence, think about.
Right.
Do I like the weather there?
Yeah.
Do I want to be in a climate that's warm all year round? I might like putting on Timbs.
Right.
I get it. And there are some people who can wear Timbs all year round. I don't know how you wear Timbs in 700-degree weather, but hey, that's the world is different. But you got to factor in those kinds of things when you're talking and thinking about it, because that's what is going to put you in the spaces and in the places that you need to be. It's the communication, the understanding and comprehension, and then putting your heads together to make sure it is solid for you both. Because if it only is solid for one of you, to your point, Shawn, somebody's going to be unhappy, and that will lead to most certainly there being a disconnect and eventually the breaking up. So don't do that.
Now, everybody, we got the jewel dropper of Mia Sealy on live for a few minutes, and he's just dropping this knowledge that we all love. And the folks in the chat room are showing you so much love of Mia Sealy. But let me ask you this question since we're talking about communication. Welcome to the show, guys. Only place on earth where you get your morning started right. Let me know where I need to put the phone printers, because put it on if y'all can hear me, because I want y'all to hear these jewels. Amir, let me ask this question. I asked everybody in the chat room this. Since we're talking about relocating and we're talking about communication, folks in the chat room, I'm gonna ask you first, and then I'm gonna ask Amir Sealy, and I'll give my perspective as well. Guys in the chat room, question on a Feel Good Friday: have you ever been on a bad vacation with a partner? Have you ever been on a bad vacation with a partner where it may started off good and then it ended bad? I'll share my experience in Mia Sealy. I went to back in the day when I was out there whoring in the streets, my friend. Me and this chick randomly went on a vacation. We went down to Florida, down in South Florida. What's those islands down there? Key West down there. You went down to Key West, and it was a bad trip. It was a bad trip for multiple reasons. It was a bad trip because we both went down there. I'll be honest with you, the money was light. The paper was light. The paper was light. We went on a vacation knowing that the paper was light, both of us. And while we were there, we were making it through with minimum money. And then we ran into the crossroads where we couldn't do this particular restaurant because we didn't have that money. So we couldn't sit at the restaurant to see the dolphins and all of that, Amir Sealy, because we had to go to the other restaurant because we was budgeting that money to the dollar because we were staying down there for about 5 days. And on day 3 or whatever, it went left. The money was light, and we got into an argument, and the rest of the trip was ruined. And we spent the next 2 days really not speaking to each other and flew back to New York. So it was a bad experience. Amir Silly and everyone in the chat room. Have you ever been on a weird vacation since we talk about relocation and communication? And I played a part in that, Amir Silly. I should have told this woman we cannot go to Key West. We only got $500 on us. That's $250. And we staying there for 5 days. It's mathematically, it doesn't add up. Amir.
It's so funny to your point, Sean. And I'm assuming this was much more early on in your experience in life.
Yeah.
I think to be fair, for so many of us, that is probably the greatest thing that we can experience early on is those kinds of situations. Mine was similar. I had gone to Aruba,
right,
and my heart wasn't in it.
Right.
I was connected mentally and physically to somebody else, but I said, you know what, I'm going to go with this person. We're going to try to make the best of it and have a good time. And we fought the entire trip.
What?
Like every day, it was, if it wasn't one thing, it was another thing. But I look back on it now, and I smile to myself because, again, to a point that you made a little bit earlier, it is, and this goes to what I said a little while ago, it is the not being honest with yourself first, and then sharing those sentiments with whomever your significant other is, because that is, again, so key to any and all of this. For instance, you could go on vacation, and this happens. You could be the person who loves excursions.
Right.
So let's get on the jet skis. And I want to, do the whatever them dirt bike things are, whatever, ATVs. And I'm gonna sit by the pool and read a book kind of guy. Why? Because my regular everyday life is constantly moving and shaking. So again, so I said you got to have these discussions. Wait, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do this? Because all right, I'll allot some time for this.
Right.
But you got to allot me some time for that, because now we've laid out a game plan, hopefully that suits us both, and now puts us in a situation for what should be a wonderful vacation and a great time. Now, I will say this, because this has just been my experiences over the course of my life, and how Sean always loves to share with us his experiences. We tend to be polar opposites with whomever we're connected to.
True.
Meaning,
True.
you're the calm one in the relationship, they can be the lively one, and vice versa. So, again, you got to have those conversations, though. Like, cruise life for me is that, that's been my thing in the last couple of years. I love a good cruise. Right. And it doesn't have, I don't have to get off the boat. I don't mind getting off the boat, but I most certainly don't have to get off and, see the countryside. I've done a few of those things. Usually they hit you with the whole countryside is the size of the Bronx. You're like, well, I've been to the Bronx. I don't need to see this. I'm good. Yeah. So you get off, you take your little car ride through, you see somebody got chickens in the front yard. You're like, oh, shoot, they got dogs. Same stuff that we have here. But I say all that to say, yes, those things are amazing. The experiences are things that you can't buy, because now you're in a different setting. The countryside looks different. The trees are a little greener. The flowers are a little brighter and more beautiful. But the big thing is, to your point, having that conversation and getting the understanding. And this is a word that has, come to me as of late based off of something else that I've been doing. Get the buy-in. Right. And the buy-in simply means you and the other person have decided, okay, again, if you allow me to do these things, then I'm going to, be privy to allowing you to do those things. Because the buy-in now, and remember, you both have to have a buy-in. You can't just make it one-sided. We're going to do it. Okay, wait a minute. Now we're not doing all that. But once you get that buy-in, now it should hopefully make for a conducive, wonderful, situation as far as your vacation goes and the time spent. You know what I mean? So that was a funny one back in the days, though. I absolutely, because I'm like that now. I don't like to do stuff if I know my resources aren't where I want to be. You know, oh, that's no, and no.
You know, I'm that guy as well. I'm not. I say it on the show all the time. I'm not the excursion guy. I'm not going to do that. I want to chill by the pool. I stay on the resort. I'm one of those guys as well, and I appreciate you for sharing that. But Amir, and everybody, let's give the jewel dropper Amir Silly a round of applause for coming in the final hour and helping me out and put a number one in the chat room if you're enjoying Amir Silly with his knowledge and his point of view, man, and we appreciate you on the Feel Good Friday. Amir, I hear stories as an adult throughout the years that, speaking of with the vacation tip, and if you want to plug your company before you leave, you're more than welcome, Amir. Throughout my adult life, right, I've have conversation with women, including my wife and others, that when the girls have a girls trip out, when the girls go away for the week or whatever, it seems like 90% of the time they always come back with with a story of one disgruntled girlfriend that's always a pain in the ass on the trip. Women always and ladies chime in. If they've gone away for on the cruise or if they're going away to the Caribbean or whatever, there's always that one pain in the ass friend. But with men, when men go away or go to wherever we need to go, we usually don't have a pain in the ass friend because us men will decipher the pain in the asses and keep it pushing. And we know selectively who's going to hang out and we're going to go and do our thing. Yo, Mia, what we doing? Okay, we bringing talent, we bringing hot sauce, we bringing this, because we know that we can all hang out together. Correct. But what's your thought process? I know we're not women, so I get it. But what are your thought processes of women that are always tolerating that pain in the ass friend that always got to go on the trip and they still tolerate it, and the same pain in the ass friend is always going on the trip with them? Why do women, so the question would probably be, why do women have more patience with their pain in the ass counterparts and women when they go away? What is that all about?
You know, it's so funny. I think what that works out to be in theory to me is, and this just seems to be, to me, generally speaking, women are constantly in competition with one another, whether they say it or not. It's not a good thing or bad thing. That's just, the nature of women. And when I say in competition, I mean, up until the slightest thing. She got a cutest smile. Her hairdo's better. She lost, her weight is different from mine. Whatever. Small nuances that, ladies use to measure themselves. Men don't usually do that. Look, like you said, we get together. We are the type that if everybody, if like you said, it's 7 guys, 6 of them decide to go to the club. The one dude who's gonna stay back in the room, he like, yo, fuck y'all. I see y'all later. But that's how we get down. Women, on the other hand, Sharon, why you don't want to go? You trying to mess everything up. And the reality of it all is, we have to, we should. I shouldn't say we have to. We should give each other. Another word that is, I've embraced as of late is the word grace. We have to do a better job of giving each other grace. And I say that with the most humility again, because a lot of times, even if it's a girls' trip, or it's just a gathering. You get together with your girlfriends, you get together with your male friends. A lot of times, you really don't necessarily know what the people are going through. Now, you have those friends who are much more forthcoming and might share with you and go, hey, this is going on, that's going on. And obviously, you do everything you can to try to help them. Right. But you got some friends who are going to go it alone. And they're going to go it alone because that might be just the way they handle things. Doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just their process. But because of it, that might be why they are always standoffish or seem to, not always want to go and run with the clique or, do what everybody else wants to do. So we should try to give each other grace, because I don't know how many, how often this has happened to any of you guys, but I know it's happening to me a lot more than not now. Find out people's real stories, you go, oh, my goodness. I didn't know that. And again, it's not a good thing or bad thing, but it really is something to wake you up, because as hard as your challenge or challenges may be, you hear somebody else's and you go, oh, wait a minute, they joint is way different, and or I don't want to say worse, because everybody thinks that their challenge is the end of the world. But you find out it's different, and in it being different, then you hopefully handle how you handle that person and the things that go along with them differently. So I always ask people to think about that, and it doesn't make a difference. He or she left me on red. They didn't call me right back.
Right.
You don't know what your friend's going through. And even like I said, when you're on trips, it's the same thing. He or she might have came out just to get away and escape the ass whipping that they might be getting back at home that you don't know nothing about. Now she here on this trip, looking her best and doing her best or whatever, but she could, you know what I mean? So you gotta, or you again, hopefully should just be like, you know what? Sharon say she don't want to, come out with us. We're gonna leave her here. Girl, be careful. Don't do nothing crazy. Whatever. Just hit any of us to, let us know if you do make any moves. So at least we, keeping up with one another. And the same should be said for guys. It's funny to me with guys, and I always say this because guys don't do as much as women do. We will get together every blue moon, but usually our get-togethers are somber. Yeah, we lost Mike. Big Mike, yeah, we lost Big Mike. And everybody get together, we stand around drinking this, that, the third. But ladies don't do that. They celebrate everything. Hey, what girl? Okay, they do. And like you said, they'll plan a girls' trip, and you ever try to get guys together? Who won't be there? I'm like, we got 9 million questions. Women don't have none of that. As soon as somebody announced it, well, I got my money. Yeah. Who do I need to send my money to? What payment plan are we on? What we doing? So to me, it's always funny how there's these nuances and differences between the sexes when it comes to certain things. Now, again, what I'm saying does not apply to everybody. Each person, it applies to differently. But I think that, to your point, that's usually what is going on when you have these, kinds of trips, and you have people who may or may not want to run with the pack. They might, truly be dealing with something, and they're getting away was just that chance to get out of that situation for a couple of days, maybe see how I could, maneuver it when I get back, and I don't leave it all together, and they're trying to work through that process, and it should be okay if we're being honest with ourselves. And I think that maybe this perspective, if you didn't have this perspective up to this point, will hopefully help along those lines as we move forward. And like I said, utilize it in your everyday too. I didn't hear from such in a while. They might be going through something, and it's okay, because to go through stuff, so many of us try our hardest to really go through things alone. And it makes sense because, most people say, as my mom used to say, don't look for no help because it ain't none coming. And I remember as a kid, I used to be like, Mom, what in this? But now as an adult, I technically understand it. And it goes back to what I was saying, that everything that you need to resolve things is technically already in you. The point is, you have to look inward as opposed to looking outward, and then utilize the tools and the moments and the mentors and the things that have gotten you to this point in life. Because for everybody who's on this line and everybody who may watch this thing later, you've already gotten through some stuff that you thought you would never get through. Right. That's just the truth. You know what I mean? That's just the truth. So if you got through that, that means you can get through whatever, belies you now. You just have to look inward and think, what mind frame, what mindset, what energy did you get into to get through that thing, and apply it with maybe some slight adjustments to whatever this thing is. And then you'll move on through without a problem, man. Shawn, man, I gotta say this, and I'll yield back my time back to you. First off, man, thank you for having me get on here. I don't know what it is about you and talent, but y'all have this way of bringing stuff out of me that even sometimes I'll be sitting here going, so I just thank y'all for allowing me to have this platform to share stuff with y'all, man, and to talk to your audience and to be a part of what you guys do, man. I really, really am thankful and humbled by it all, brother. You have no idea.
Well,
So,
we appreciate
salute you, man.
We appreciate you so much, and just some grown men talking and have some fun, kicking some knowledge and getting our laughs on, and we truly appreciate it. Everyone, before Amir, let them know where they can find you. This is the jewel dropper right here, Amir Silly. This is my brother. You know, we on Motivational Mondays, we do our thing. But let folks know, man, because we're gonna get out of here in a minute. Everybody in the chat room, please give our brother Amir Silly a round of applause for sharing his experience, strength, and hope. God bless you, brother. You got the closing word.
So you can find me on Facebook. If you guys are on Facebook, I'm just Amir Sealy, AmirSealy. That's my real name. If you are following me on Instagram, I'm A-Rock Sealy, AROCKSEALY, all one word, A-Rock Sealy on Instagram. Those are the two things I predominantly am on. If you want any more information about the travel opportunity, please DM me or hit me in either one of those spaces. I'll be more than happy to share the information. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I'd much rather, have a quite a one-on-one with you so that you can really hear the information. But Shawn, again, brother, I love you. I salute you. To all of the listeners out there, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic weekend. Fantastic Friday and weekend, more importantly. But go out here. Let's be the best versions of ourselves we can be. Think about this, y'all. We're in the last day of February, so we're in the third month of the year. So time is flying. Make every day count.
Amir, even though we don't have no seats available for Saturday, come on through Saturday. I see if I can find somebody to sit on the show with on at the Comedy in Harlem. Fun fact, guys, about Amir Sealy. If you don't know, Amir Sealy's brother is the legendary basketball player Malik Sealy from back in the day, right? But if what you don't know about Amir Sealy is, let me tell you something right now, and I'm gonna share this before he leaves. Amir Sealy would probably be one of the best dancers on earth. You get Amir Sealy on the dance floor, you're gonna get a different Mr. Sealy. Amir, before you go, how did you learn how to dance like that, bro?
So this is what's really gonna make you laugh. And I've been doing this with other things. My dancing is a combination of house music. Yeah. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Nicholas Brothers, tap dancers from back in the day.
Yeah,
it was actually Little Seymour in Uptown Saturday Night.
Yeah.
But those two brothers, house music, and then just music is one of those things, and this every sign is different. I happen to be Aquarius. Music is everything to me. Yeah. When I say everything, I mean everything. So I constantly listen to music, whether it's hip hop, R&B, because it's a way of transforming me or allowing me to participate in a party, and the DJ is doing what he's supposed to be doing. I then do the same thing. I just almost have an out-of-body experience in terms of dancing and just having a good time. And it's my one way of being able to express myself, exercise, and all that stuff all in one moment. Now, I will say this as a funny caveat to that. February 9th that just passed, I turned 56. So now I got to pick and choose when I have those moments because the body doesn't heal up as quickly as it used to. But as you know, Shawn, like you said, man, if the music is right and the DJ's doing what he's supposed to be doing, I can't help myself but to definitely catch a 1-2 real quick, because I just think that that's what music is, and that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to help you, move through your life and either remember the moments or create new ones. And if you use your music wisely and you hopefully, use that as a parameter from time to time, I promise you will look at music so much differently and enjoy it in such a way. Like last night, just true story, I'm here in my neighborhood. There's this restaurant called Blossom, Black-owned restaurant. Right. And people had R&B bingo night. When I tell you that shit was so fun, Shawn, it was off the chain. I was like, yo, this is crazy. So they had bingo cards, and they had like Earth, Wind and Fire, Silk, Mary J. Blige, and they had this thing that you pull out, and the DJ would play the song, and then you had to look on your card and see if you know. When I say, yo, this is fire. I don't know who created this, but kudos to you. This was a really good look. So,
Wow.
Again, we have the ability to be so creative and do so many different things, y'all. We just have to, utilize that creativity and be great at what we do. You know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you something, guys. If you're dancing with your lady on the dance floor and the mirror still gets into the middle of that dance floor, move out the way. Move out the way. Just let it go. All right. Hey, listen, one more time, Amir, where can they find you? And then we're gonna get out of here. God bless you.
Okay. Again, like I said, y'all can find me on Facebook at Amirsealy, and on Instagram at ARockSealy, ARockSealy, all one word. And that's me on Instagram. Like I said, please hit me up, DM me on either one of those. I'd be more than happy to, share the travel opportunity with any and every one of y'all, because I think that traveling is one of those things that we should all do and make a part of our lives, because you learn so much about the world and you learn so much about yourself. You get to, get out here and see the world. So I love each and every one of you. As I always say, it's nice to be important, but it's much more important to be nice. Take that with you, utilize it in your life. Shawn, I salute you, King. Thank you again for allowing me to be on your platform.
Yes, sir.
And to everybody, again, have a fantastic Friday and a fantastic weekend.
Exactly. Yo, Amir, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you. All right, guys. Let's give a round of applause. Let's I'm gonna do a few things. We need a round of applause for Amir Sealy. I need to see the hearts in the chat room, and put a number 1 in the chat room if you enjoyed the show. Put a number 2 if you didn't. I'm putting you all to work. That was a great show today. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Remember, there's tickets available for Friday night. Hit me up for Friday night. Saturday is this too tight. I don't want y'all to come on Saturday. There's no way to sit. It's gonna be crazy. I was even thinking about doing a Sunday show, but that's too much. But I truly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I love you guys to death. We've had a great show this morning. We didn't get a chance to get into the topics of the day, but Amir Sealy brought it home, and we truly appreciate you, brother. And thank you. You guys, I love you guys to death. I'll be in Jersey City tonight. I'll be in Connecticut tomorrow, and there's a whole lot going on. But you guys, please be safe. Have a great weekend. Matter of fact, where the heart's at? That's right. Where the heart's at? In the chat room. Hey, where the heart's at? In the chat room. Hey, where the heart's at? In the chat room. Hey, turn down for what? Why not? Your boy Shawn Harvey. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Be safe. Have a great weekend. And we see you back here live on Monday. Let's go.